Hello, welcome back to the woods. Now, I've been looking back through my videos to see which stuff you guys actually watch, the stuff that is popular with you guys. And what I discovered is you like ones about rucksacks and improvements to rucksacks. You like the cooking videos, but you also like simple stick projects. So I've got another one for you. And the simple stick project we're going to look at in this video, well, it's this. My journeying staff. Now, next to your knife and your cooking pot, this simple stick is probably one of the most useful pieces of bushcraft gear that you can carry with you. It can be used for helping with your shelter. It can be used for journeying and crossing obstacles. It can be used for cooking your food. There's all manner of different things this simple stick can be used for. Now, the staff is used while we are travelling, and that's its primary use. It's a useful third leg, so if you've got to come down a steep slope, well, this helps to give you that bit of extra balance. Again, if you've got to go up a slope, it can be used to aid you in that. If you've got to cross an obstacle like a bit of marshy ground, you can dig into the ground in front of you to see how marshy it is. If that ground's really marshy and it becomes a stream, well, this becomes a useful third leg again, where you can use this. If you've got to wade a stream, you can use it as that third leg to give you that extra stability. If you've got to cross a deep body of water and perhaps you're using your rucksack as a flotation pack, well, as you go into the water, this feels in front of you to feel where the drop off on the river is, so that you don't get that nasty surprise of suddenly disappearing under the water. The stick will tell you that that's coming up. If you've got to move through country where there's a lot of brush, this can sweep in front of you to push the nettles, the brambles, whatever you like, out of the way. So it really is a very useful item to have with you out in the woods. Now we'll start off at the top, and I've rounded the top off. There's a good reason we round the top off. Number one, it helps to stop the stick splitting with use. But also, if I'm using this inside a shelter, so I've got my tarp over the top and I'm using this to push out from the inside, I don't want any sharp edges that might push through the tarp. Now, the next thing you'll notice is it's got this pronounced hook on the end, and it's a V shape and it's facing downwards. And this hook has several uses. I can use it for reaching up into a tree to hook the end of a branch down so that I can pick the fruits off the end of the branch. I can also use this hook if I turn it up the other way to suspend a cooking pot on, or to lift a cooking pot off the fire. A little bit further down the stick, we've then got another V cup, but this time one that's pointing upwards. And all this one is there for is if I'm using this on the outside of a shelter as an extra pole to give me a little bit of height to increase the internal volume, I can simply put a clove hitch around the top of the stick and it will sit in there and nothing will move it because it will sit up tight against that V. Going further down the stick, well, you'll see there's these markings, and these markings are every foot. So I've got a way of measuring how tall or how long something is. At the far end, I've got it down to inches, so I've got a 1 foot scale on the end there. So then turning my stick round, you'll see I've got a series, maybe even more V-notches. And these notches, if I turn the stick up the other way, becomes suspension points, so that if I hang my pot on the end, I can then move my pot higher or lower over the fire using a suspension system. So it allows me to fast boil or simmer foods. And if you've seen my video on group cooking methods, this is the technique I use on my big tripod. So it's a really useful item. As far as tools for this job, you don't need a whole lot. A pruning saw, a knife, an awl, and that's about it. You can get yourself a stick maker's ferrule to protect the end, or you could just use a simple bolt, which is what I tend to use, and you can get those at most hardware stores. So to make your journey stuff, well, the first thing you need is a longish stick, and what you want is something that's probably about as tall as you are. You can use all different types of woods. My favourite is hazel. It grows nice and straight, and you usually find it in clumps, and it's a coppice wood, so I can take one of these out and know that I'm not harming the tree. It will grow back. In fact, it will probably grow several shoots where I cut this one off. It wants to be reasonably straight, not dead straight, and you want to season it for a few weeks, and this one's had about 3 weeks since I cut it. I tend to leave the bark on mine. I know some people take the bark off so that it dries out quicker. The problem is then I found you to quite often get splits running through the wood. So I tend to leave the bark on, and where I've made the various cuts, the moisture will gradually escape. Once I've selected my piece of wood and I've cut it and I've seasoned it for a couple of weeks, what I then do is I trim it off so it's about shoulder height, and that's the ideal height for me. Some people go for longer ones, some people go for shorter ones, but this is a height that I found works. With that done, well, I'll then start rounding the top off. I'll also start cutting my V's, and what I tend to do is I'll mark them out with a pen, and then I start cutting them. And I tend to use a batten, and I just hammer in a series of crosses where I want them, and I chip them out in the direction that I want them. Now I've got this one running down, these ones are all facing up. I'll also mark in my scale for my measuring. And then once all of that's done, I'll then round the base as well, and up through the base I'll put a bolt or a screw. Now I've rounded that off so that it doesn't split as I'm moving along, and if I'm moving on metalled roads, this bolt screwed into the end is going to protect the end of the stick. You could use a proper ferrule like the stick makers do, but they can be quite difficult to get hold of. These, any hardware store have them, and it will protect the base of your stick for years. Now this really is a super simple bushcraft stick project, and if you're a person that does a bit of walking like I do, then it's a really good bit of kit to carry with you. Even if you're just going out for a spot of bushcrafting, this has so many different uses, whether it's you use it in your shelter or whether you're using it while you're cooking. It's a really good bit of kit, so go out and make yourself one. So, as you can see, the journeying staff is so much more than just the stick. You can use it around the fire, you can use it on your shelter building, you can use it for crossing streams or descending or ascending slopes. You can even use it for measuring the height of things. It really is a super useful bit of kit, and one that you definitely need in your bushcraft kit. So get out there, give it a go. If you like this video, then remember, hit that thumbs up button. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, and if you do subscribe, then also hit that notifications bell as well, so you know when I've got new stuff coming up. And I've got a couple of quite exciting things coming up in the pipeline. One of those is going to be a step-by-step guide on another bushcraft rucksack, so stay tuned, watch out for that one. Hit that notifications bell because it's one you are not going to want to miss. Also, if you haven't already, pop over to Instagram and Facebook. You can follow me over there. The links are underneath. You will also find a link down there for my Patreon page. Become a patron. Doesn't cost a whole lot a month. There are benefits. You tend to get the heads up first if I've got stuff for sale over on the Etsy shop. And there is going to be some of the new Fubar headbands coming up. And remember, the patrons get first dibs on there, so it's worth signing up to become a patron. I think that's everything. Yeah, have a look at the Etsy shop while you're out there, because there's some good stuff on there, including the Greencraft patch, the Greencraft mug, as well as the few other bits and pieces. Also, that's something that's in the pipeline are these, the leather patches to go on your cap, on your Bergen. Stay tuned for an update on those. I've been Neil. Until next time, stay safe.